You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another fun episode of Ask a Drone U. Hope you're enjoying your holiday, the July 4th, Independence Day. It's a great time to celebrate what we've built here in the United States. It's also a great time to reflect on how we can do better. So, long story short is, let's go ahead and get started with today's show. We're going to be focusing on a particular question about interactive mapping. And it's one of those things that there's just so much to do. And I'm going to stop saying mapping because there are way too many professional surveyors getting their panties in a wad and that they think that everything is now surveying. And it's like, well, no. We've been using measuring tapes for quite a long time. We just happen to be using it in a totally different way. And it's funny because the rent-seeking behavior continues. And it's really, really fascinating. So,
but that said, we have some great members of Drone U that are surveyors, and
True.
They get it, and they're embracing the technology, and they are screaming ahead.
And their companies are on fire.
Yeah.
So, like I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to get off the high horse, but I think that in very specific types of mapping, there is a need for surveyors. But there are also hundreds, if not thousands, of other uses that are not drawing boundary lines, that are not used to legally interpret what someone owns.
They're not transactional in nature.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of other things like, modeling of homes where I don't need a surveyor. Or in some states, you don't even need a surveyor to do elevations and topos. Some you do. Okay. So it's all very relevant. And I'm not here to talk about that. We're actually here to talk about how 3D modeling can be used for training and scaling your business. Did you hear that right? Training and scaling your business. So one of the issues with scaling is creating systems that are followed by a lot of other people in the very same way that you follow them to ensure that you're getting the most quality at the highest or most efficient rate possible and that you're thorough. Well, how can you ensure that people are going to be thorough all the time? Well, I think that there might be a little idea that'll spur some thought process on how you can better scale your business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I just want to give a quick shout out to some of our friends and family on this holiday. I want to say a special thank you to Joel Cruz, Steve De Los Santos, Ilya Kirill. Now I want to say his last name though. I can speak a Slavic language. Why can't? Kirill Kogarev. Maybe I said that right. Maybe I didn't. And also just really grateful for all of our new team members. And I can now officially announce that PJ Kirkpatrick joins the team here at Drone U, heading all external Drone U Elite trainings. So really excited about that. And he will be working on our Hawaii training, which, by the way, do you think it's too late to have another piece of ammo in your arsenal? Then why haven't you attended a Drone U mapping class yet? You've got to check it out. So just go to thedroneu.com. And now it's even easier. There's no more wheel. We changed our website. So it's even easier to get to. This needs to be clarified. So if you go to training and online training, that's the membership. That's the 30 plus classes that are online. In-person training is going to take you to Drone U Elite training. That means I am not there. You are training with one of our Drone U Elite pilots. Training events. Now that is training that I will be there or something's going on. We are in the process of changing this page because there's a couple other trainings on here that are not our Drone U group trainings. So we're going to change that. But if you go to thedroneu.com training and then go to training events, you got to check it out because there's a lot of training events coming up. In fact, our business mastery class is something that I'm really excited for, and it's happening in the middle of the season. I know the middle of the season might be busy for you, but it might also save you a bunch of money if you realize one fatal flaw you're making that you didn't know.
Yeah, it might be a great time actually to take a little time based on everything you've been working on and kind of reset and run it through a filter. of some experts in the field as to how they're making businesses work well.
Totally. So don't miss these classes. In fact, yeah, great pictures here, Rob. I think you did a great job with this.
Those pictures and all that was Tim.
Great
So
job,
we want
Tim.
to give credit to Tim,
job,
Mr.
Tim.
Ray,
Yes.
part of the Bald Bureau.
We have trained so many people at this point. Anyway, let's move on. So this show is brought to you by the upcoming training events that are going on this summer. We will be headed to New York City. We will have a training here in Albuquerque and San Diego, Austin, all over the place. Check them out.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Rob. This is Alan again in Southeast Louisiana. Like I said, currently work with a towboating company, and they are constantly building new boats. We have 97 right now, and I think we have 16 more that are in construction right now. And I believe that 3D mapping would be an amazing benefit to them with new boat construction in the shipyards. And not only that, but they have rock yards and rock piles that they could also use 3D mapping. I am a Drone U member. I've taken all 3 of the mapping courses, and I really, really want to get them into it, but they have a lot of money to throw at this, but it's older money. And I'm trying to figure out a way to present to them why they need 3D mapping and how it could benefit them, so we could potentially use it and this could be a big deal for them. But I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to approach it with them. Like I said, it's older people. They do have a lot of money, but it's the fact of, convincing them. And I'm sure this question's been answered already by you guys. I just haven't heard it. But thanks for everything you guys do. Rob, especially, I do appreciate the financial advice as well. You definitely deserve credit where it's due. So thanks again.
Alan, thank you for the question. Thank you for the time. And this is a really interesting question. I don't think we've had anything from anybody asking about 3D modeling ships and the construction of ships, but I think your perspective on this is probably going to go even deeper than Alan might be thinking as far as what you might do in the situation. And so he doesn't necessarily, I guess part of his question is actually not only, I sense a little frustration in there. Like he's got some good ideas. He's not really sure how to sort of bring it all together, even kind of formulate the details on those ideas, and then be able to articulate that in a meaningful way to the decision maker. So there's really a lot going on there. He knows there's value to be had, just not sure how to deliver that value. Is that how you heard it? And what would you do with that? I'm very curious.
It's interesting because when he said boat building, we have answered questions about mapping boats, though, before. If you remember the guy from Australia who was trying to get a really good map, and he was wondering if he should be using LiDAR versus photogrammetry. And that was actually a quite difficult question because with the water, it really makes it difficult. And actually, since that question, I've thought about that particular question a lot, like as far as like having a set of buoys go out 100 feet and then make a square around the drone and then weigh those down with anchors so that they can't really move too much. It might create a better map. I don't know. But I think that this is a really, really great idea. In fact, Boeing and a couple other corporations are using interactive modeling and augmented reality to do training right now. Yeah. And this is something that we've been actually asked to work on. And as you know, as you become more successful with business, you have to learn to say no, but more than yes, because you find yourself, everyone wants to work with you. They want to, do this and do that. And you've always got to remember to just stay on the straight and narrow and focus on your business and deep focus. And that's still a problem for me. I'll just be the first person to say it. So that being said, what I would do is, he said he's doing shipbuilding. I wonder how big the ships are. I mean, he said ships, right? Not boats.
He did. He said ships, and apparently there's 97 going now with many more to come. So that implies that they're not huge, but I don't know.
I don't know. That's a big question, because if you could do this indoors, I would really want to do like a Matterport model instead of a drone model. That's just what I would do.
Sure.
But I mean, here, if he were to model this, let's just take this. Okay, how can I create a map and that gives something give someone a resource? I really can't talk. I need to go to vacation. I really can't. They can create a resource for another person to create a training program. So let's say instead of creating a training program, we're using standard operating procedures, written out things. You're doing this, you're doing that. Frankly, that doesn't work. You still have to have the hands-on. You still have to have something. And the more interactive that you can make these things and have the new people have an experience and a journey through time to show them how to do things, because typically people are unwilling and they're afraid to do things when they don't understand how to do it. So with that said, I don't know, really, really interesting, because what I would do is I would map it, double grid, orbits, whole 9 yards. In fact, I want to, double grid and orbits. Then what I would do is I would actually process that model, depending on whether he wants a point cloud for measurements or whether he wants, let's say, I'm sure he just wants a 3D representation. So let's say he does a 3D representation. Then what he could do is literally put that model or different forms of that model. Like imagine if you did a model for each particular stage of construction. I'm sure there's probably like 10 or 20 stages. That's fine. But then in that model, you could have annotations in that model that has a training video. Like for example, let's say, Rob, that we just built the hull of the ship, and now we got to add the cross supports, the ballast tanks, the bilge pumps, and all of that. This is a great example of VDC, virtual design and construction, and how we could take a 3D model and literally inlay the VDC. So actually, something that's really interesting is I've been screwing around with Drone Deploy more and more, because Mike Wynn from Drone Deploy met me or we met each other at the FAA symposium, and he's like, "Hey, I really want to talk to you." He's like, well, I think I already said this, but essentially, he's like, "I noticed you talk a lot of about the about Drone Deploy." He's like, "But you're not wrong about everything." And I think that, well, no, you know what?
I'm just kidding.
That was something that made me say, you know what, dude, I like you, because someone who's humble enough to be like, "Look, you're an asshole, but you're right about some things." That's my kind of homie, okay? I like it instantly was like, I want to be your friend. So
absolutely.
Anyway, and something that I saw really cool in Drone Deploy is that you could actually upload your as-builts as an annotation to your map. So you could literally have this is the thing that Mission Control was trying to do with Intel, and now Drone Deploy is like, here you go. So anyway, I just didn't realize how expensive Drone Deploy is, but that's another subject. So you can actually create your 3D model. The thing I still don't like about Drone Deploy is I cannot do the mapping missions that I want to do. It's either single grid or structure mode. Okay, I want to have some flexibility. I know how to model better than these machines do, and better than most little interns that are sitting in the back office. So that being said, I still want that flexibility. But what's really cool is that Drone Deploy says, if you have your as-built, let's say your as-built has your electrical, your HVAC, it's got everything in there, and you can literally overlay that on your map so you can see what's done and what's not, okay? Now, let's take that model, right? We're trying to train our people. Now I would add annotations of video. So if they have to install the bilge pumps and someone's like, they forget, oh wait, should plug 38 go in hole 38 or 38 alpha? You know, like essentially very specific. Every single part and piece has to be in the right place. It has to be, what is it called? Secured properly. Like there's steps for every single thing.
Sure.
I mean, not only that, but we're also talking welds here. Sarah's dad now works at Intel. He's no longer a metal fabricator himself. They literally pulled him into Intel because he used to work for Intel, you know? So
well, and they're hiring a bunch of people. So.
Yeah, and they wanted him. And you know why they wanted him? Because of his extremely in-depth knowledge of welding and the chemistry therein. And I thought that was fascinating. Yeah. I was like, that's cool, dude. You got to give yourself some credit. You always walk around like you're the hardcore, blue collar guy. I'm like, smart. Like, this is great.
Well, all I have to say to that is nerds are cool.
Yeah. Right? Agreed. Call me nerdy and I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, Imagine if you had videos like in the model showcasing the type of weld that should be done, because there's different types of welds, for example, and then the type of material for that weld, the whole 9 yards. Like literally imagine a 3D model with annotations so that you can put the as-built over it, which I think you can do in other programs as well. I need to check Measure because there's been a lot of talk in the industry about Measure, and I'm going to be investigating it pretty hardcore. And it's funny, I have to like reinvestigate every program like every 18 months because things change so drastically. In fact, Drone Deploy put out an email today. They're like, the things that we've learned and how we're improving. Like, I think that's awesome. It's kind of like a hard email to put out because a lot of people see that and say, yeah, you're shocked, you know?
Right.
But it's like, guys, we all evolve. We all learn. We're all human. We're always trying to make something better. The difference is who actually follows through on their word. That's the key. That's the key. Because there are a lot of people that don't do that. So going back to this, he wants to create a 3D model. What's the value? Well, what if I could create a 3D model with annotations and videos for training, but then I can also create a 3D model for each phase of the construction process, and then I can inlay the as-builts and showcase where is the actual progress. Because here's the thing, something that I learned actually, again, from Josh, not bearded Josh, different Josh, Josh M, is that if you have a problem with a particular solar panel, it can take a guy hours to literally figure out which panel it is.
And then figure out what's wrong with that panel.
Well, what if the panels aren't indexed? Like, what if each post doesn't have a number? And what if each module doesn't have a number? Literally, sometimes they are doing these solar inspections just to index each panel and have a plan of like, okay, we know that panel 1847 alpha is bad on the right-hand side because typically when one of the modules goes out, an entire third of the module goes out.
Kind of like Christmas lights. Ugh.
Yes, that's exactly right. So it's, he was like, do you know how much time we can save in just indexing these things so that when there is a problem that people can go out there and navigate to that exact area? He's like, you know how many hours we save with that? He's like, it's actually kind of hard to measure, but a lot. So you think about if you can organize and structure each part of the process and then literally audit every single person, this is how you're going to actually reach those deadlines, because you're going to catch problems much, much, much faster than you typically would, because you can say, okay, here in stage 1, we process the model. Everything looks good. Looking at the permanent record of installation, build should have been done. Pump 1 should have been done. Engine mounts should have been done. The bow thruster 1 and bow thruster 2 should have been installed. All of those things, right? So if those things aren't done, they're going to know faster and they're going to be able to solve that problem faster. And how much money is time worth?
A lot.
So I think that it's it. I'm not going to go too much deeper. You can, if we created a 3D model, we could add in videos. We could actually add in augmented reality from our videos. In fact, we could actually make our 3D model virtual reality where people can go in, walk, and then what you do is you have annotations on the wall so that when people are looking at the goggles and they're walking through the model of the ship that you just built and they look right and it's like, click here for instructions on the first piece of manufacturing process. And you click it and it literally, like, you're in the model and you're watching a literal video overview of exactly what to work on with what tools, how to do it safely, how to set up the area, do your risk plan, like the whole 9 yards. You're just creating a much more autonomous system.
Very cool. It's...
Does that answer the question?
I think it's great information. I'll just put you on the spot for maybe 60 seconds of time. And that
Only
is
59 available.
We'll take it. In 59 seconds. What would be your pitch to a group of 12 older gentlemen, as described by our caller, of why they should let you do this and allocate resources to it?
Gentlemen, we all know that you thrive on making money efficiently and creating systems, but you like to do so in quality. You like to do so in a reputation that leaves everyone with a good taste in their mouth. Well, what if we could create a culture of safety in a new technological way that excites everyone and motivates everyone to be safe, but also takes things down to the human level, where if they screw something up, they have a resource to go check it before anyone else? What if we could find problems before they existed? That way, instead of having a week or two setback because a certain part was installed incorrectly or a weld wasn't done, we actually have a systematic means of inspecting these things via virtual reality and augmented reality, right? We can save time if we can figure out these problems before they happen. Well, we can also save time because we can ensure and audit what each subcontractor or contractor is building in each position. We can also audit how long it took them to do exactly that. That way we can improve that process to begin with, or figure out, hey, this typically takes you 2 hours. Why did it take you 4? We could save money that way. Now, gentlemen, if you're a lot like me, then you own a business, you like to make money, you also like to drive inspiration and motivation for your employees so they feel like family. Is that something that you're interested in doing? Saving money, it's, we're helping increase culture and safety and reduce liability. I think those are the 3 key words, but you have to dollarize that value.
Yeah.
And that's, I always tell people that it's like, you can have the pie in the sky idea, but unless you bring it down into numbers, no one cares.
True. And yes, exactly. Otherwise it is just that. It's pie in the sky. It's theoretical. And especially these type of gentlemen that you're referring to, they're not going to let that fly. One thing that comes to mind sort of to wrap up here, because what Paul's given is obviously fantastic information, but even that is just sort of one perspective and one area that you could look at. So what it makes me think about is do your own analysis sort of what the process is. I didn't get this. I'm not sure if you're building the ships, or I think we're on the right website here, but it looks like it's more about transport and stuff. So I don't know exactly what your ultimate need would be or theirs, but figure out, sort of lay out, flow chart what the process is, and then think about how these processes could enhance information, etc., to come out of that process, make it more efficient, all those kinds of things. They're going to love all that in addition to what Paul said. So it's really cool. It's fun stuff. It's neat to see. I hope you'll keep in touch with us and let us know what you actually end up doing with this and the success that you have.
I'm going to say just went through one more idea. It'd be cool if they were building some of these things inside, like certain of their stages are inside, and they could Matterport the inside of that area.
Yeah.
Because Matterport has so much flexibility inside their models.
Right.
You can add key points, touch points, navigation points, videos, photos, interactive. Like, there's so much you can do. And it's so funny because Matterport is such a powerful tool, but yet they keep upping their price, and it's just providing an opportunity for someone else to come in and just swoosh.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love the idea of, maybe one of the primary ideas is using this technology and the deliverables therein for training, because that is something that could definitely be more efficient. We all know that hiring people and training people, or hiring customers and training customers, in a sense, is very, very expensive.
Those are some of the best people to hire, though, are your customers. I know that sounds weird, but let's be honest. We've hired some people here, and
PJ's one of them.
I was just going to say that. All right. On that bombshell, that's going to do it for us today. If you're looking to have fun and you understand how important training is, you understand how important habits, routines, and systems are, well, what if you could have fun and do that and be safe? Well, if you want to have that experience, then you've got to join us at a Drone U training experience. Just go to thedroneu.com, hit the training menu, and go to training events, and I'll see you there.